Today we're talking about escaping the excuse trap. We all have a vast vocabulary of you did this, I did that, this is why all this happened. It's never my fault, it's always your fault, it's that fault, it's the weather god's fault. It's everybody's fucking
It's
fault.
everybody's fault.
Except, well, maybe my own, I don't know.
Maybe.
So, excuses. What are they? They're actually a blame mechanism.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a form of blame. You're blaming you, you're blaming me, you're blaming whatever. It's always something's fault why something shitty happened to you.
Okay. Okay.
Excuses are commonly used to get out of things because you don't want to be uncomfortable. Who wants to be uncomfortable?
Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. But it's good to be uncomfortable.
I like it.
I like it too.
I grow when I'm uncomfortable. I create
Absolutely.
awesome shit when I'm uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, do I like to be comfortable curled up in my bed? Absolutely. Do I like to not feel like I'm outstaying my welcome at somebody's house? Always. But so commonly, like an example of an excuse. Oh, I have to go because fill in the blank. Things that you don't want to get into a confrontation with somebody. But it's
Okay.
natural. It's totally natural. The reason why you do it, it's a safety thing.
Oh.
You want to fit in. You want to belong. You don't want to have to get into confrontation because your safety mechanism in the back of your head is like, I don't want to fight, so I'm just going to avoid it with excuses.
Well, why is it that when you're telling your truth, okay, does it automatically become confrontational or a hard conversation? Listen, you're talking about your truth. And if you're not honest with yourself, who the hell can you be honest with? You know what I'm saying? So
I do.
it's like if I need to leave because is, something as simple as you just don't want to be there or
And
anything
that's
like
okay.
that.
That's the type of thing. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact.
Yeah. Just say it. Just, if you're with the right people, they're going to know your language. They're going to understand how you are. So if you're going to say, I have to go, I can't be here anymore, they would understand that. It doesn't have to become this big deal.
They might not, though.
They might
I
not.
mean, some
but-
people want you to stay because they enjoy your company and they want to keep talking. And then they're like, oh, but, and they don't respect that thing. So excuses often come into play.
Yeah.
But that's when you make boundaries. Boundaries are your friend.
Yeah.
So this is where you really need to know yourself and you need to see, am I making an excuse or am I setting a boundary? Am I speaking truth? Am I not? Because you don't want to cross that moral line. So, what are 3 things that people can do to get out of that excuse trap?
I want to give you a quick message before we get back to this episode. Unlock the secrets of your soul for free with Soul Notes. Say goodbye to feeling stuck and hello to the validation of your alignment. These weekly prompts are filled with reminders, gentle nudges, and sometimes a kick in the ass, all with love from your soul. Don't just take our word for it. Try Soul Notes for yourself and see the difference it can make in your life. Trust us, your soul and you will thank you. Just go to soulnote.org. That's SOULNOTE.org. Now back to our podcast.
So why are excuses a problem and why do we need to get rid of them?
Okay.
The problem is it is a momentary time of happiness.
Okay.
You got out of the confrontation. Yay. You got out of the friend's house, out of the party. Yay. You got the anger out of your system because the glass just fell on the ground and shattered everywhere. And it couldn't be because you bumped it. It had to be some freaking earthquake, the dog, the kids, something happened. Good to get the anger out. Great to get out of situations you don't want to be in.
Right.
But you just crossed a trust line with yourself.
That's true.
And people can feel your energy. So even if they don't know that you made up an excuse, they know and hear.
Yeah.
So it becomes an unhealthy relationship and situation just purely by making an excuse. And nobody wants that type of energy directed at them or directed at ourselves or just being in the environment. We want strong, healthy, solid communication and relationships.
Right.
So you don't want to live in that singular happy moment that you used a negative energy to get. because that kind of negates the whole point. And the reason that it's really, 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 really core bad is because it creates anxiety. It creates depression. Because when you're not in integrity with your core, that depression starts to seep in. And when you're in a situation where you're like, I'm going to have to start throwing up excuses. I mean, you might not up here think that, but in the back of your head, you're thinking it. Soon as you know you're going to cross that line, you start to get anxious. Because again, you're crossing that moral line.
Right, right.
So nobody wants more anxiety. We all have enough of it.
Right.
Nobody wants depression. There's more than enough of that as well. So how can we stay strong in our boundaries and our moral compass to avoid the excuses?
Yeah. Well, the main part of it is owning it.
Absolutely.
Taking full responsibility. So when you catch yourself saying, I'm sorry, but
Yes, that's a big one.
that you don't want to do that. I'm sorry, but say you're sorry, period, end.
And
take
mean it.
responsibility.
And if you
for your
don't mean
part.
it, don't say it. Because sorry kind of is like, well, excuse me for living. Like,
Right.
you got hurt, you got pissed off, you know I'm out of integrity, but I'm not owning that, so sorry.
Right. Yeah, or
Like, no.
I'm sorry, but had you not done or said,
I wouldn't have gotten angry.
that's not an apology, and that's not owning it. You need to own it 100% authentically, and take responsibility for it.
Otherwise, you're tripping. You could be tripping. You're tripping yourself up, actually, but you're chipping away at your integrity.
Yeah.
So that trust in yourself is going down, 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 down.
Right.
The trust other people have with you, they don't really know it, but again, it's chipping away at that. So the integrity of your relationships at work and at home, it's all just starting to dissolve.
Right. Taking responsibility, owning it is an important part of authenticity of self. And if you're not practicing that, and it's hitting your core values, shit's going to happen.
So if you can correct it in the moment, if you hear yourself saying that, like, yeah, I'm sorry, but stop.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, can I rephrase that? Can I just retract that right back? Because that shifts the whole energy, because the person's like, oh, wow, like.
Right. At that moment, that person is saying, oh my God, this person is taking responsibility for what they were about to say.
And then the
They're
trust
going to
factor
make
is
sure-
going like this.
Yeah. They're going to make sure they rephrase it in a way that is, honest and authentic versus it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. We'll see.
Exactly. And we didn't actually read, I always read the definition of things, so
Oh,
we
okay,
really
yeah.
understand them. So it's an attempt to lessen blame by attaching to a fault or an offense. So that's why it's a blame mechanism, because
Yeah.
you don't want to be blamed. So you have to attach to that. Attachment is just never
We're
usually
tricky.
a
We're
good
very,
thing.
very tricky
We
humans.
are tricky.
We trick ourselves. We think we're tricking others. Some people see us a lot faster than we see ourselves.
Exactly.
So,
So, I mean, listen when somebody's giving you feedback, and don't take it personally.
yeah.
Like, take it in,
Yeah.
but don't take it personally. Like, oh, they're an asshole. They're calling me out on my shit. Like,
Right.
some of those people are the best people to have in your life because you know they're honest with you.
Exactly.
So please don't push those people away.
right.
I mean, unless they're just an asshole, then you have
I
full-
personally would want somebody to tell me the truth.
Exactly.
If it doesn't matter if it's going to hurt me or however, I'd rather know the truth than you tell me a line of bullshit and I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It just doesn't work. You want to be honest, with your friend base, with your family base, and
Yourself.
make in yourself and make sure that they're the same with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you have to be in a place where, the authentic parts of you, good or bad, right or wrong, they're yours. Own them.
And no hitting yourself over the head because you fucked up and made an excuse. Again, it's a natural part of us. It's going to just come out of us subconsciously. I want to say there's nothing you can do about it, but there is. You can start being more aware. You can start owning it. You can
Absolutely.
start practicing. So it's just a natural part of life. It's
So what's the next one?
the next one is limiting beliefs. And I actually have an example about you that I can use.
Okay.
So I don't know if all of you know, but Wolf is dyslexic. And for many, many years, she was commonly like, I suck at reading. I hate reading. I can't read. Limiting beliefs, if you tell yourself that over and over and over
Yeah.
again. You probably heard it from a teacher at some point or some jerk friend in school that was like, hey, you can't read, making fun of you. I don't know what.
I don't know if that happened. I don't recall anything like that. I just remember that when I would read, when they asked you to read out loud or a paragraph, whatever, it would like paralyze me because it was so hard. It took me a while to make sure those words were in the right order. And half of the time when I was reading out loud, they wouldn't be, so it wouldn't sound right. So at the same time, I was just like, oh, I must sound like an idiot. That negative self-talk came in so quickly. Oh my goodness, did it come in so quickly. But the more practice I got, the better I got at it. So
Exactly.
I did it anyway.
And you chose to change the narrative at
I
some
did.
point.
I did.
I don't know if it's just people pointing out, like, sure, you can read. Go ahead. You sounded great.
I think the change happened actually with you because you kept pointing out certain things for me. Just not to be an asshole about it. You were just, trying to teach me, and this is what this means. Or if you put these words together, this is how it,
How it should sound,
You
or-
gave me examples.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to like, okay, well, and I remember them. So when those words come together, I hear your voice saying this, and it makes sense to me. So
Awesome.
that's how it helped me.
This is why you surround yourself with people that are honest with you
Yeah.
and lift you up and can talk to you without it becoming a defensive confrontation.
Right.
So-
You know what your limitations are. So
And I mean, I think it's badass when you read out loud in front of people because it's just, it takes you 100 times the effort. It's like I'm an avid reader and I'm not dyslexic, so I don't have to flip words around at all. I can like skim through things really quickly
Yeah.
and give you a grand summary on everything. So to have what you have is just like, that's heroic to be able to even do that.
and never mind that on top of that, I'm bilingual. So
Right. So you're like, yeah.
so in my language, everything's backwards. And then then I get into English, and it's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely. And if anybody knows any solutions for dyslexia or tools that might help, please reach out to us because school did absolutely nothing for her with
Nothing.
this in all these years, and she would love to be able to master it even more.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's how you can help us.
Cool.
Building that network. The third one is building your skills and learning, which we kind of just touched on
Yeah.
right there, that you built your skills. She really had a huge up level with it when she discovered audiobooks,
Yes.
because she would actually get the regular book, because she's a very visual learner. She would have it playing in her ear and then she would follow along, so
Yeah.
her brain started to identify what she was hearing visually. And I
And
think
even
that was
and,
huge.
and it was crazy because I'm hearing it properly, and when I'm looking at it, everything is jumbled. So it was just like listening to it at the same time as I'm looking at it made the sentence kind of fan out, if you will.
Wow.
And so that's what it looks like when I'm looking at it. You have that sentence. At first, the sentence is like jumbled, and then when I'm listening to it, it's fanned out like an actual sentence, which helps me read them better.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Which is a lot easier than trying to flip them because they're not in order.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, all these little tricks that I have to kind of help me to be able to read with less struggle.
Right.
But Yeah, I mean, just you got to figure it out. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And now you have a lot of new opportunities because you're not avoiding places and spaces where reading
Yeah.
might occur. So you're not missing out because
Right.
you were making excuses to yourself. Well, I'm just stupid. I can't. It's,
Right.
yeah. So, I mean, the more you learn, the more you ask for help, like we just did, the more you learn about reading and watching other pods about clear communication. So you know how to talk to people. You know how to express your feelings without it sounding like blame or a fault or an excuse. There's all these different ways that you can practice
Right.
being curious when something happens instead of automatically putting those walls up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know what's interesting is that I find talking equally as challenging at times because I'm trying to make out the words in my head,
Ah,
you know? And it's like like just now you'll see me looking up so that I can kind of grab the words and grab the thought. And that is a little technique that I learned a while back. I saw someone who was talking about how to,
Jim Quick.
was it
Yep.
yeah, there was kind of, and it's like, okay, so that's what I practice when everything is jumbled and crazy visually or in my mind, so that I can be able to speak. I stop, I pause, like I tell you guys all the time, take a step back, pause, reset, and then I'm able to iron everything out and be able to have a conversation, or do a talk, or even read something from a book.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right, so we want to leave you with excuses are a gentler term for betrayal. So please stop betraying yourself.
Stop it.
Stop betraying those around you.
Yeah.
Practice, 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 practice. Like
Yeah.
we tell you every time. Pause, take a step back, all the things.
Yeah.
And you can get those excuses down so that the confidence can go up, the
Yeah.
trust can go up, and things get easier.
Yeah. Jump into that pool, man. Jump.
Please,
And
jump.
trust that it's always going to be full.
Exactly.
I've never forget that advice that somebody told me. Just jump in and know that there will be enough water in there. And that's what I live by. So everything, how I approach everything, that's how you should kind of approach life.
Grab it. Grab life by the horns.
Absolutely.
All right. Be kind.
Peace.
Peace.